Oh, wow. All the debates. We're just watching those exciting debates. Oh, watching centrists. It was great.
We needed to caffeinate.
Oh, boy.
We totally needed to caffeinate.
We went tea, and this cup just happened to be the one that was they had here at All Things Comedy. And that's the one I went with. We're at the All Things Comedy World Headquarters, ladies and gentlemen, in Burbank, California. This debate was really close to where I actually live, so I drove 25 miles out of the way to do this live stream because I wouldn't want to be too close because I'm afraid there's a cloud of centrism hanging over the beach where I live.
Oh, yeah.
And like, it's going to turn me into a centrist saying really exciting things like, these plans aren't realistic. Isn't that was exciting? It was such exciting. It was like,
it was so exciting. Oh. PBS stands for perpetually boring, shitty broadcasting.
Yes.
That's what it stands for. I wish we could live in a country where debates that boring could be justified because things are going so well.
Yes.
Like, I wish we lived in that country. I wish it was like, hey, how was the debate? I don't know. It was Stick in the Mud Magoo versus Wet Blanket McGee, but no one cares because things are going great. Everyone's happy. But no, we live amidst catastrophe. And there was a bunch of talk about nothing they didn't make the 3 hours.
No.
They had to cut it short because it sucked so hard.
So boring.
They're like, we can't give CPR to this anymore. We're putting it out of its misery.
If there were 7, like that was the actual general election, and there were 7 parties represented, and they were all just debating the subtle nuances of how great our society was, I would be like, well, that'd be fantastic.
Right?
Like, where do we send the surplus of money? Nobody's unemployed. How do we deal with this?
The biggest issue affecting our country right now is that Mrs. Robinson is bored. We need to find shit for her to do. By the way, I don't think there is no reason, and I tweeted this, there is no reason for torture or enhanced interrogation techniques in this country ever again. 1, because it's immoral and completely unjustifiable. And 2, because all you need to do is lock somebody in a room and force them to have a conversation with Amy Klobuchar and Tom Steyer. They will tell you whatever you want. Just let them out of there. That was the most boring. Amy Klobuchar is like if an HR meeting was a person. Like, it's unbelievable how boring she is. And Tom Steyer is proof. Money cannot buy everything. You know, one thing it can't buy, a personality.
No, it can't.
Apparently, it can't buy that.
And there's no, like, Mayor Pete is the most boring, centrist. I mean, you've got literally the debates tonight. I felt like I was watching, tonight's debates are Bernie versus a bunch of Republicans.
Versus everybody and the moderators.
Yeah.
Again. That was the debate. People, by the way, we got to mention this. I've never seen anybody bomb at humor harder than Pete Buttigieg.
Oh my God,
Every
he's
attempt
unfunny.
he had, like, he just doesn't. I mean, usually politicians can deliver a joke. That's kind of part of the gig.
You speak for a living.
You speak, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. He was like, I mean, it was bad. All of his jokes bombed harder than he wants to bomb Mexico. I mean, they just bombed. They were not funny at all.
I don't know what I was more excited about is watching all of Bernie's platforms come out in this watered down version from Liz Warren. Mm-hmm. As I said, I think Bernie should say he wants to outlaw cats just to see if she'll repeat it. He should just start making crazy policy things just because she'll just start.
And then she'll get confused.
Yeah.
They'll ask her, they'll be like, so do you want to outlaw cats? And she'll be like, yes. Wait, no. Wait, I have to look into it. I have to ask somebody. What did Bernie do?
What I did love is they all went after Mayor Pete. That was fantastic.
Yeah. You know what I tweeted? I was like, you know what? If Amy Klobuchar dunks on you, it's time for you to be Buddha gone. All right? You're done. Amy Klobuchar dunks on you.
I just like...
Her closing statement was, I want to debate Trump because compared to him, I actually look reasonable. And my grandfather was a cool guy. That was her closing statement.
And she kept with the like... she saw Liz Warren get a big round of applause with some like, when the first female, she's made her, and that got a big applause.
That was actually a good line, though. I will give that to Liz Warren. That was a good rebuttal because they were hitting on age pretty hard.
Yes.
And they said something like, well, you'd be the oldest, and then Liz Warren was like, I'd also be the youngest woman.
Yeah, ever.
That was a good line, man.
It was a great line.
I got to tip my hat to her for that. That was a good line. Perfect timing. Got a big laugh, and it deserved one. That was well done.
It was a really good line. So Klobuchar in her closing statement was trying to get one of those. And she was like, and she's like, when we debate, and there will be a female debating Trump, and there was just like, like her and Mayor Pete would
They're
be
like, the time's up, man. That was already, Warren nailed that one.
Klobuchar Buttigieg, sleeping pill 2020.
Oh yeah, big time with some Steyer in there.
Oh God, they're so.
You don't need an Ambien prescription if you're just like friends with the three of them and have them over at any point.
Even Yang, Yang was climate change. His solution is move everybody to higher ground and give them $1,000, right?
No, he was like, I want to move everybody to higher ground, literally and figuratively, which I was like, is he implying he wants to criminalize shrooms? Because I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
Is that what he meant? What does he mean figuratively?
Nobody. I've said this time and time again, but like, Ron, name all of those amazing centrists throughout history. Can you name some for me? Can you name that amazing time that centrist saved us from a really difficult, challenging time? Remember when FDR went?
Well, Bill Clinton saved us from choices on the radio. I mean, before him, like, there was all kinds of stuff to listen to.
Yeah.
And there were local personalities. You had to find out who they were, see if you wanted to listen to them or not. And then in 1996, he's like, well, that's unsafe for people while they're driving. We need 6 companies to own all of radio, and we just need to play the same stuff. And it should be Rush Limbaugh. So Clinton helped us there.
Well, that's that panel of people, with the exception of Bernie, and Warren just repeats what he says, but she's just kind of, she was a Republican and now she isn't, and she's not going to take corporate money, now she does. She just says whatever Bernie.
She found out what selfies were like 3 weeks ago, and she can't get over it. I think that's what happened. Like a couple weeks ago, she found out what that was.
Yeah.
And she mentioned it like 100 times. And then Biden did it. He's like, I take selfies too. Like, they're both so...
She's like, I've taken over 100,000 selfies. I wanted to go, hey, Warren, do you know... Everyone takes, like, you and I have taken thousands of...
They were so fascinated. Dude, my grandmother, rest in power grandma, she turned 100 years old a couple years ago, made it to 101. Mm-hmm. When she turned 100 at her birthday, we took her first selfie together. It was me and her. I was like, Grandma, it's your first selfie. And we did it. And I explained, and she got it pretty quick. She was just like, oh, okay, neat. Like she was over it, like it was. She was less fascinated than Biden and Warren were. She was 100 years old.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, I get it now. That's not. Yeah, I know phones can do crazy stuff.
Nobody took a selfie with Warren until she started running for president.
Apparently,
like when
she told her what they were doing.
Right.
She's like, what's this button you're pushing? Is this?
Are you holding up a makeup case?
When you push this button, does it donate to my campaign? No, we're taking a picture, and you can... It's called a selfie.
Oh, God. It was
amazing.
Like... It was just...
First time she saw a selfie stick, she thought it was a cane. She's like, what's wrong with these kids? Why are they...
Well, in like October of 2017, nobody was taking selfies with her when she gave Trump an extra $80 billion for his war budget. So I think things have sort of changed for her maybe a little bit now.
Right.
They think she's a progressive that's actually going to do something other than just sell people out, because she's watching her and Buttigieg fight over who's a bigger sellout. Calling him out for the wine cave thing was fantastic. That was beautiful. And then he calls her out, which is great because they're both sellouts.
Yeah.
It's like two rival drug dealers going, your heroin kills people. Oh, wait a minute, your crystal meth kills people. Like,
and then Bernie, you know what, to his credit, because at first I was like, Bernie!
I know.
But he jumped in at the right time.
I know.
He was just like, let it go a little bit, let it ride. All right, now.
Yeah.
And he nailed that pretty good. He had one fumble. He did have one fumble when they asked him about race, and he said climate change. He had a good answer overall. He recovered very well, but they jumped on him right away and used it against him, and he's got to know they're going after him, man. And
I know.
He's got to know how to prevent situations like that.
Yeah, because they're asking him a direct question about race, and his long form answer was a legitimate one. He should have said, when you talk about race, communities of color are the ones affected by climate change the most, and we can't skip over that.
Right.
That's how he did it. Instead, he started doing he went back
He's
into
like, well, I want to go to climate change. And like, well, this is about, that's not, he can't.
He looked like he was avoiding.
Exactly. And people are just going to remember that first part.
Sure. And that's all they're going to show. That's all the corporate media is going to show. That's all they're going to show.
Did the moderator jump on him? Yes. Was it unfair? Yeah, but I'm sorry. He knows the moderators are against him. He's got to be prepared for that. That was the one fumble I think he had.
It was one, and we went to a break, and this panel of PBS people talked about everyone but Bernie at the break.
Yeah.
And they're like, Klobuchar's upticking in Iowa. Bernie's leading in Iowa. He's leading in New Hampshire. He's leading all over the place, and they refuse to talk about it. And it's like, when they're arguing over wine cellars and corporate money, I'm glad Bernie jumped in and goes, I get the most individual donors.
Yeah.
And he made that point several times.
Oh, and it was whenever somebody was calling out Pete Buttigieg, the look on his face was so epic. When Bernie called him out for the amount of billionaires he had, he looked like a teenager who just got caught masturbating by his parents. It was beautiful.
He's like,
it was beautiful.
Joe's got 44. You got 39. You better catch up. You seem like a competitive young man. Like, it was fucking. It was
epic.
It was gold. And like, and then when they're arguing and Klobuchar does this, guys, which is like it is such an annoying when there's an argument.
Well, she's an annoying person.
Oh God,
I mean,
she's
everything
annoying.
about her is just painfully boring and annoying. And Buttigieg, what was the other thing? Oh, I love how they brought up, speaking of Pete Buttigieg bombing at humor, they brought up Obama, where, Obama shit on Bernie, saying like old white men are the big problem, blah, blah, blah. And you know how where they were really going with that question. They were like, hey, Obama shit on you a bunch, Bernie.
Biden even admitted it. He goes, I know that question wasn't directed at me.
Exactly. And then Buttigieg, his attempt at humor, which by the way, I thought Bernie had a good answer to that. Buttigieg's attempt at humor was he was like, oh, I think that might have been directed at me. No, I'm the young guy. And it bombed. It did not get one laugh.
No,
because it wasn't that funny. And also his delivery, he's a weird guy, man. Like he's kind of like, he gives off a weird energy.
You want to talk about, he gives off a weird energy.
Like he's kind of just creepy.
He's a creepy, weird dude. And because he's getting eaten alive on social media, and these PBS people don't bring up the McKinsey thing. Mm-hmm. They don't bring up the lying about black supporters. They don't bring up any of that stuff. I mean, the wine cellar thing, I'm glad that got brought up.
Yeah,
but
that was beautiful.
But
they don't bring up the fact that apparently he tried to he gets a bunch of donor money from people who are trying to keep a bunch of tapes that incriminate the South Bend police force, where they were trying to get his donors to get him to fire a black chief. Allegedly, they're still looking into that. Wow. But yeah, apparently he's taking money there because he just gave money back from a Chicago person that was doing something similar. He's like, I don't want your money, which was the right thing to do. He did the right thing there. But now they're saying, yeah, but then there's these people in South Bend, similar corruption, and he's still in bed with those people.
Man, and then it's just this centrism. Here's what's happened in America. Because we've had this 4 decades long corporate coup, and the corporations have bought everything. The Koch brothers donated to PBS. So PBS isn't this like, that's why they were like, they spent 7 minutes on climate change. And then, they're for war. Of course, now we're going after China. We're going to talk about that in a second. But, so you've got these boring corporate centrists, because that's the corporate culture. The corporate culture isn't bold. It's get it to the next quarter, get the stock price up. Don't stick your head out too much because you'll lose your job. Mm-hmm. Like, that is the corporate culture. And that's why Bernie's the only one with bold plans. Tulsi has bold plans, but she was not she decided not to come on the stage. We'll talk about that in a second. But she was missed. We missed her just throwing haymakers at people. Like when
I think people did a good job on Buttigieg. Yeah. Had she been there too, it would have been lights out.
I know.
I mean, getting her to she would have just delivered the KO,
Well, they can't have her there because she KO'd Kamala. Kamala's out of the race because of Tulsi. which is great.
Yang misses her, apparently.
Yeah.
Yang misses Kamala, and he misses Corey. I like that.
Nobody mentions Tulsi when they're missing the minorities.
Apparently, Yang and Tulsi are tight, I thought they were tight. He didn't mention her, but
They didn't mention Castro, who's also Latino. They didn't mention They just mentioned the two.
They just mentioned Kamala and Cory Booker. And you know what's funny? When Andrew Yang mentioned Booker, it was like he wanted an applause from the audience. Like that was a moment of like kind of solidarity. Like, oh, applaud my colleague. And there was a brief moment of silence. And I think it was because the audience was looking around going, who is that?
Right.
Like, I think they didn't know who he was for a split second. Because keep in mind, the only policy Cory Booker has ever really stood up for was changing the rules of the debate so he can get back onto a debate and say nothing for a while.
I know.
That's the only time he ever stood up for anything.
But that's why they have, Klobuchar said, look, we need we need to be progressive and practical. Oh, God, yes, that's how Susan B. Anthony got women the right to vote, by being pragmatic, right? That's how we put a man on the moon. That's how we defeated Hitler. That's how we ended the Depression, all of that. MLK was like, we need to be pragmatic.
Let's be slow.
Let's be slow.
Pragmatic.
Let's not take over a whole bridge in Selma, Alabama. Let's not do that. No. Let's not encourage strikes.
Let's just stand on this hill, see what happens.
Yeah, get a permit and be out of the way of traffic and not bother anybody, I think is what MLK was all about.
Exactly. That was his thing. Yeah. Well, I mean, keep in mind Amy Klobuchar's riveting endorsement from Bill Maher, where he's like, I think we just need someone kind of whatever, doesn't ruffle any feathers, middle of the road. I'm eyeing Amy Klobuchar.
Well, let's talk about Klobuchar for a second, because back in October, she said that she would not pardon Julian Assange.
Oh, did she say that?
Yeah, and then tonight she was
I'd imagine she would get that one wrong. I mean,
of course. But then tonight she's all about press freedom. So she's talking about press freedom, and it's like, no, you said that you would not pardon Julian Assange. Somebody asked her point blank, would you pardon Julian Assange? She goes, nope.
Well, her definition of press freedom is, in a White House press briefing, everybo's very nice to CNN. Yeah, that's press freedom.
That's press freedom
to her. Like, be nice. Don't be mean to CNN.
She won't throw a stapler at him.
Right.
That's press freedom.
At least not if the cameras are on.
She won't throw a stapler at
If she doesn't want to answer a question, she'll tell you a really boring story about her grandfather.
Yeah.
Why does she seem like she always just woke up from a nap?
It sounds like
she always it's like she just woke. She's like, you gotta do. Like, she just sounds like. She sounds tired. Like, she's just sleepy.
Yeah, and this debate was the first time she didn't sound like she was about to start crying. Usually she's so nervous.
Liz Warren started crying for no reason.
Oh, God, that was so contrived.
About the selfies.
Liz Warren was trying to get look, I care. She was so trying to fake cry.
I take so many selfies, my eyes are watery. Some of them, the flash is on.
She took 100,000. You know how I know that, Ron? She mentioned it 15 times. That's how I know she took 100,000 selfies.
She won't stop mentioning it until she mentions it 100,000 times. That's how she's going to go full circle with it.
The Jimmy Dore Show. Shave your knuckles for justice, Jimmy. Thank you for supporting the show. He just wrote,
Jimmy.
There's nothing pragmatic about an incremental solution to a catastrophic problem. He's quoting you,
Thanks,
Ron Placone.
Jimmy.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
459 people watching. Please hit the like button, everybody. Let's go, Ron. Let's go to some super chats.
Cool.
Chara Dreamer. Thank you, Chara Dreamer. Thank you so much. Shave your knuckles for justice. Danny Vela Perez. Buttigieg, the wine cave woman. Haha. Thank you so much. Yes, Jimmy, we're reading super chats. I just got your text. Citizens Media TV.
The other Jeff Epstein.
The other Jeff Epstein, not the one murdered
not the
one murdered by Mossad.
Totally different dude.
Common name?
Who sings good harmonies.
People still, every once in a while, when I'll do an Epstein video, someone in the comment section goes, Graham, you have Jeff Epstein in your credits?
Yeah.
Well,
he sings the harmony on Get Your News On with Ron. So, I'll mention him in the podcast all the time. They're like, who sings the harmony? And I'm a different dude. Common name.
Different common name. My 10-year-old, Daddy, are they all better than Trump? Me. Bernie is like eating food. Warren is like eating rotting food. The rest are like eating boogers. And Trump is like eating poop. So, yes, they're all better than Trump.
It's a good analogy.
That's a way to break it down for kids.
That's
to
a
get
good
it.
way to break it down for your kids.
That's a good kid
or
break
adults alike.
I got it. It made sense to me. I totally got it. Medjin Bull 17. Boom. You're making Gotham great again. If Bernie had Tulsi's courage, he would be unstoppable candidate and probably even higher in the polls than the perfect candidate. Let's talk about that. So we've talked about before Bernie not coming up swinging enough. I mean, he does at times. You know, he had some moments tonight. You know, I wrote the damn bill, he said in the past debates. Yeah. And he's really seeming like he's really pushing the unify the country angle.
He is.
So he doesn't want to come up swinging too much. A lot of people, and it's a fair question to ask, are like Elizabeth Lee Voss posted this on Twitter. Jimmy's talked about this. Mm-hmm. Is he going to just endorse Warren or Buttigieg or whoever they jam down our throats if he gets cheated again? So it's a fair question. So what do you, I mean, I have some thoughts on it, but what do you think when you see Bernie not play as hardball as like Tulsi? Tulsi landed a couple of solid knockouts in every single one.
She goes harder in debates. And I think I mean, a lot of people say, and I think they're right, that that's not Bernie's style. And okay, I get that to a point, but it's like, dude, it's all of them against you. We live in an outsider time. Only an outsider can beat Trump. You've been an outsider as far as the political realm is concerned for 30 plus years. You gotta be that guy now. You gotta take off your gloves. People get excited when he does it.
I know.
And he did it some tonight. He did. But he's gotta do it more, and he's really gotta just set himself apart from the rest of the pack. You know, and he's got to speak up when they're giving Liz Warren credit for his policies. He's got to yell about that. And he started to tonight. I mean, there were a couple times where he's like, I want to speak here. I want to speak here. And he kind of like, you know, was persistent, and that was good. And it's got to continue.
Yeah, I wonder, you know, if they... I want to believe he's got some like long-term strategy because he knows they're doing it this well. But I also, you know, like... Yeah, part of me feels like, and this is why it was always good to have Tulsi on the stage with him, is he's the nice guy just saying, it's a human right, we're going to tax the billionaires. He'll call out some people directly. He'll say, wait a minute, because Biden always goes, it'll cost $30 trillion. And he always goes, no, Joe.
Yeah.
It's currently $50 trillion. You're wrong, Joe. And what I always thought was like, I believe Bernie and Tulsi are working together. I could be wrong. That's like I've said that. They met.
No, I know it's your theory, man, and I sincerely hope you're right. I mean, I really, really hope you're right.
It is my theory. It is just a theory based on the fact that, you know, I mean, she backed him in 2016 and lost, stepped down and all that stuff. And, you know, they had that meeting in January, and she's the one that says, you know, she's the only one who said, I would pardon Julian Assange. She's the only one who's been pro-Assange. And which has some pro-Assange people, and rightfully so, very critical that Bernie hasn't said anything about this.
He said stuff about whistleblowers, but he hasn't been specific.
Yeah.
So he's done more than most, but not as much as I would like.
And, you know, Tulsi is the one that called Hillary a warmonger. Tulsi's the one that says the DNC's cheating. Tulsi's the one saying the media's smearing her and calling out the media. So Tulsi's the one doing all of that. And my thinking is Bernie, like if they are working together, my theory is that he went, you do that, you go be, because this has happened before where the VP has been the hatchet man, you know. Even Obama did that. He'd be nice, congenial Obama, and then Biden would go out and say crazy stuff, you know, and Obama would act like, whoa, Biden, don't say that. But that was like,
Joe, you're out past curfew again.
Yeah.
We gotta calm down, buddy.
Joe, you brought the car back with only a little bit of gas in it. Now, Joe, you got to fill up your old man's Buick.
I think his best moment tonight, Joe Biden's, was when he was like, I give my private phone number to young women and men all around the country.
Young women whose hair smells great.
It's like the audience was like, are we okay? Is he done? What's he doing? I mean, I think at one point it took all of the moderators like self-discipline to not be like, do you know where you are right now? I mean, when they asked him about Afghanistan, and he was just like, they were like, you didn't even come remotely close to answering the question. Do you want to try this again? Do you want to reset? Do you need a glass of water? Do you need to maybe just not do this anymore and go enjoy your golden years with your family? What's wrong with you? And he was like, I'm the guy, period. And it's like, this is, wow, this is something.
Well, this is to the Bernie point. Somebody brings up a great point here. Bernie is sympathetic to some of Tulsi's points, but won't expend any political capital unless he really, really needs to. So, you know, I wonder if they keep... I mean, Bernie's seeing his numbers go up. He knows the media's lying. When is he going to, like, really call that out? Or is he really just saying, look, we're so divided, I'm going to try to transcend that? And if that is what he's doing, do you think that's effective? Or do you think he's being too soft?
I think the big question is, would that be effective enough to get him the nomination? Because, I mean, maybe his strategy is, I'm going to play nice and be a unifier because I think that's what the Democratic base wants. And then if I get the nomination, I'm really going to be gloves off because I hope he realizes this. I'm assuming he does. To beat Trump, you need some of his voters. And I think a lot of Trump voters are willing to take a chance on Bernie. But he needs to be, again, he needs to be the outsider. He needs to say, this is how I'm going to make your life better. This is the snake oil this guy sold you and didn't deliver on, and this is why I'm the real deal. He needs to do that. But will being the unifier be enough to get him the nomination? I don't know if it is, because he's got to set himself apart from the herd, like big time, to just be big enough that enough people get behind him and realize they can't settle for anything less.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So I want to see, I mean, look, we're less than 50 days away from the Iowa caucuses. They're in February. So
and there's been barely any events leading up to it. I mean, it's been very they haven't had a lot of debates our election seasons are so short.
I know.
I mean, it's like it's here and it's over. It's like crazy.
Well, let's talk about this too. Tulsi not being in tonight's debates. Going into this, I thought, well, I think that was a mistake. I think she should have done it. But then watching tonight, it was so boring. Maybe I don't know.
I disagreed with her decision because, I mean, it was like before they even like finished their polling requirements or whatever. She said she wasn't going to do it. And I was like, I think she should be on that stage. You know, I mean, I think it's important that her voice is there. We're still at the moment where it's important. A lot of those perspectives are there. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know why she didn't do it.
I know it would have been important to have her tonight because they were, and PBS was pushing this, they were playing the identity politics thing so hard with there's only one person of color and there's only two women. And it's like,
Obama said you're old, Bernie. Yeah, we don't like you.
You're old.
Take it.
So that's the thing that Tulsi negated all of that. It's when she blew up Kamala, it was like Kamala can't play the, hey, stop talking to me that way, white guy. She couldn't play that card with Tulsi. And Tulsi,
all she could say is white suit. That's all she could say to Tulsi.
I mean, Pete Buttigieg can't just play the vet card. Mm-hmm. He had one deployment. She's still a major. I mean, literally, she outranks him. You know what I mean? So I don't get why she sat this one out. She said she was going to sit out the last one at the last minute, joined it. So it's sort of this time, it was like, why are you saying that again? You kind of did that tactic. I don't get it. Sometimes I wonder who's advising some of these folks.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, I know some people said like, oh, she's making a statement, but it's like, look, she's done well in Google searches and what have you every time she's been on that stage, which proves people are thirsty some alternatives and for some actual choices. So, I mean, if they are working together, if she is going to be Bernie's VP pick, which I'm hoping that happens, it's still a valuable thing for more people to know who she is.
Well, that's the thing. Nobody mentioned her name tonight, and that's because she wasn't there.
Right.
They mentioned Corey and Kamala, my sister in arms. They didn't mention Tulsi, and that's a mistake.
Well, it was pretty much only, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but only Yang mentioned anybody.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're trying to just, move on and kind of have this is it right now.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, all right. Mage and Bull 17, boom. Thank you for supporting the show. Yang is using UBI as a Trojan horse for deregulation. Yeah, I don't, Yang, reading his new Medicare for All plan.
Well, it's not a Medicare for All plan.
Yeah, it's a health plan. It's to the right of Joe Biden and Buttigieg's plan. So it's like, Yang, I'm just like, I said this in my video about him. I go, he should just run as a Republican.
Yes.
He sounds like he sounds like a Republican I would actually kind of like.
He sounds like a worthy opponent.
Yeah.
And that's why I said that. A lot of times when you say that, because I made a video about this too, a lot of times when you say that, a lot of Andrew Yang fans, their first reaction is to get offended, which I understand. The GOP is a dumpster fire. So suggesting a candidate you join them is kind of I get how your first reaction would be whoa, that's inappropriate. But no, Yang is a tech libertarian. So why should just these, GOP, partisan hack, corporatists, neo-fascists have their party? Why can't a tech libertarian like Andrew Yang try to infiltrate them? If progressives are trying to infiltrate the Democrats, why can't a tech libertarian infiltrate the Republicans? It's happened in the past. It happened with Ron Paul.
Pull that party more to the center.
Yeah.
Rather than out here in Nazi-occupied Germany that they're at. You know what I mean? Yang, he just talks this.
But one thing he's doing that's very dishonest, and I was on his website today, Forget Your News On with Ron. It still says Medicare for All. It's not Medicare for All. It's not even close. His healthcare plan is very problematic. But that's at least a good opponent to have that discussion with. He has a different perspective on it that I strongly disagree with. But at least it's something that's not just the status quo. And what I'm getting at is I think that Andrew Yang, he genuinely believes that's a good plan for healthcare. He's not just trying to be in the pocket of Big Pharma. He actually thinks this is a good plan. I disagree with him 100%, and I wish he would be a little more honest and say this is not Medicare for All and distance himself from that branding, because that's not what it is. That's dishonest.
Yeah, he sounds like a reasonable Republican from the 1980s.
Yeah.
Like he's a Reagan Republican. And he has no bold plans. I mean, what are you going to do about climate change? He's like, well, I just move people to higher ground. He's not addressing. Bernie is the only one. Everyone says existential threat because somebody gave him that buzzword.
Right.
Bernie is the only one going, look, this is what we have to. I mean, Tom Steyer talks about it a little, but I don't trust Tom Steyer at all because he's made money from coal mines.
I don't want him to solve the problem try to solve the problem he helped cause.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and by the way, I loved his, when they had their closing statement, or their last question, which of course was a fluff question, it always is, where they were like, hey, in the holiday spirit, would you ask forgiveness or would you give a gift? And the billionaire on the stage, instead of, that would have been a great moment for him to be like, you know what, I'm donating X amount of dollars to homelessness in my city, or something like that. Instead, he said, I'd give the gift of teamwork. Fuck off.
God.
Fuck
man.
off.
Andrew Yang uses it to plug his book, and then Pete Buttigieg, no original thought in his mind, goes,
tried to be funny again.
And then goes, I'll plug my book.
Yeah, he's like, well, I got some books to sell. I was like, you've got to be kidding me, man. I mean, Yang was at least funny.
Yeah.
Buttigieg was, that guy, I've never seen anything like that, where a politician is so bad at trying to invoke humor.
Well, I think what's happened to him is what happened to Kamala. The establishment said, we're going to prop you up. They said that to Kamala, and then when Tulsi took her out, she was like, huh, what? I'm a top-tier candidate. And then she folded. And then they're like, Pete, you're next. Pete's in strong fourth place, right? They've been propping him up, and he just keeps getting his legs cut off because he's not trustworthy. Right?
Kamala had a problem with humor, too, now that I think of it. I don't know if it was as bad as Pete's. With Pete, it's like he just doesn't know how to talk or deliver anything. With her, it was just like, hey, throwing kids' parents in jail is funny, right? No, that's not funny at all.
More schools,
people
less
want
prisons.
schools.
Yeah.
That's lame-o. Let's make fun of them. That's not. Yeah, no, I'm not jiving with this. I don't know. You got to write a new 3 minutes. They are the open mic comics of politics. They
horrible to watch, and you don't remember a good joke from them. You go, God, I remember I saw them bomb so hard. They had
like
this
no laughs whatsoever. They
None.
repeated the joke from the person before them. It was really bad. They were talking about throwing kids' parents in jail.
and then they blame the audience.
Of course they did.
And then the comic after them crushed.
Yeah, comic after them crushed. And everybody got free ice cream after they left. It was bad.
Diltron Zero, boom. Shave your knuckles for justice. Thank you for supporting the program. Can you call Pete Buttigieg P-Butt going forward? No, I'm not going to make wacky names about...
I like to say Buttigieg because I
Here's
say
the
it like
thing.
Count Chocula.
That's great. I think pronouncing anybody's name like Count Chocula is fantastic.
And that's actually the right pronunciation. It's Buttigieg. I'm pronouncing it right. I'm
Buttigieg.
just saying it like Count Chocula.
I can't make fun of anyone who's got a different name. I've been called Graham Cracker my whole life, or Elwood like the Blues Brother. So when anyone's got a name that there's an obvious joke or two to be made, I will not make it. I just can't. There's plenty to make fun of Pete for, and it's his horrible policies. It's his ignoring black people in South Bend. It's his all the awful crap he did at McKenzie. Like
All the creepy looks he has on his face whenever he's like getting burned in a debate.
having a debate in a wine cave. That's what you make fun of. You don't make fun of his name. You make fun of Wine Cave. You make fun of the fact that McKinsey got rid of union jobs for the Postal Service. That's what they recommended. McKinsey helped Blue Cross raise rates. That's what you make fun of Pete Buttigieg for. Mm-hmm. Graham Elwood.
I like. By the way, I like when he said that Donald Trump had a bad sense of humor or doesn't have a good sense of humor about things, which is probably totally true. But the one time Donald Trump made me laugh was when he compared Pete Buttigieg to Alfred D. Newman. That was the one time where I was like, that's pretty funny. Like, come on.
You want to go, did you write that joke, Donald, or did somebody?
Who gave that to you, Don?
You didn't write that
That's
joke?
pretty good.
Come on, buddy.
That's pretty good. Did you recruit someone from your old Comedy Central roast to give you that one?
All right, so next one. We've got 650 people watching. Hit the like button, everybody. Please hit the like and share this stream. This is awesome. We always have a good turnout for the post-debate disasters.
We watch it so you don't have to.
That's the...
We stay awake through the whole thing.
Ricky Williams. Ricky, thank you so much for supporting the show. Shave your knuckles for justice. Pretty sure a hot mic caught someone laugh during the beginning video after Pete said his policies make him the most progressive candidate. Wonder who. Oh.
Was it? I didn't hear it. I hope it was Bernie.
Did you hear it, Aaron?
Did you hear a laugh, Aaron?
No, I was ignoring all of it.
That's
a good call.
That's the voice of Aaron Brungart, the producer here at All Things Comedy Network. And he said he was sleeping through all of this. And
That's a normal human reaction.
I cannot blame him for that at all.
Yeah, that was like, I mean, that was Ambien for 2.5 hours. Like, that was like...
Well, they said it was going to go 3 hours, and I remember it like...
they couldn't make it. They're like, we gotta just pull
at
the
the
plug.
2 hour and 10 mark, I was like, oh, God, come on. Like... they start out talking about impeachment because we just had the impeachment vote. Mm-hmm. Oh, shocker. Congress passed the impeachment vote.
Yeah. By the way, none of those people sounded scripted at all with their answers there. None of them saw that coming. None of them were
No, and
prepared
it's
for
weird.
that.
During that first 10, 15 minutes of impeachment talk, we didn't talk about the 188 Democrats that voted to increase Trump's military budget.
We didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about the fact that Trump got a new NAFTA. In fact, Amy Klobuchar defended that new NAFTA after Bernie called it out for what it is, a new NAFTA, much like the old NAFTA. We didn't talk about giving him the Patriot Act. We didn't talk about the bloated military budget. We didn't talk about the net neutrality vote that was squashed. We didn't talk about any of that stuff that they're giving this guy while they're impeaching him. I mean, dude, all I want for the holidays is a resistance against me. I mean, look at all that stuff he got.
I know.
From the resistance.
Great. I wish they would resist me that way. And give
Right? Me too,
730.
man.
Like, we didn't talk about Adam Schiff's involvement with military contractors in the Ukraine. It's weird we didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about Trump and the Clintons and a bunch of Democrats and Republicans who were all involved with Epstein. Yeah, we didn't. None of that got
Adam
talked about.
Schiff, a yes vote on the Patriot Act, by the way.
Yes vote on the Patriot.
The guy who will, that guy probably in his sleep says Trump's a traitor, Trump's treasonous, Trump's this, Trump's that. Votes to give him the Patriot Act. And you wonder why the public's kind of weary of all this, and they're just sick of the Beltway. I wonder why.
I know.
Can't imagine.
But Liz Warren, she's going to really stand up and clap when Trump says we'll never be a socialist country.
Yeah, and her and Tim Kaine will even take a selfie next time.
Yeah.
No.
What's the selfie now?
It's a thing where you like take the thing with the
How many
thing.
do you think she took?
I bet she's taken about 100,000, man.
How did you get to that number?
Her eyes get watery from all of it, man. It's like, yeah, she takes them.
She takes them.
Biden takes them too, though. Don't forget.
Well, he sniffs them first.
He's
like, sniffy sniff. Yeah, no mention of corn pop. No mention of the kids that sat on his lap and his leg hair and
well,
the
don't
roaches.
forget the great American president, Winston Churchill. And, of course, I think corn pop was the VP for Winston Churchill. If
I remember
memory
Churchill
serves me right.
corn pop.
Churchill corn pop. That was.
I voted for them.
Oh, okay. So that was like 92 or 96.
Yeah, right
Which
in there.
one? Okay.
Right
all
around that.
cool.
I think it was
That's
after
what I thought.
Dukakis, right?
Yes, after Dukakis, it was Churchill corn pop.
Churchill.
They won in a landslide.
Well, they got the pool vote. Oh God, this is fun.
Who Winston Churchill? We're talking American history, Joe.
American history, Joe.
They
Oh.
tried to make it out like he was kidding. He's like, come on, PBS, you got it. No, Joe, you're clueless.
Oh, Liz Warren gets emotional because families have to mute the president on TV. All right, let's read a couple more. 674 people watching. All right, we always do really good after the debates. Yeah. Folks, while we have your lovely attention, please support the show doing the super chat, which is great, or go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood. I don't get any corporate money to do this, okay? And I need your support. And also, I put all my videos on at rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. And for $10 a month at Rockfin, you can get everybody's premium content, including Ron Placone.
That's right.
Which is fantastic. And then Ron, 2020, the Progressive Comedy Tour, where are we going?
Where are we going? We're going to a lot of places, and some places are confirmed already. Like February 8th, we're going to be in Tucson, Arizona. You can get tickets for that now. February 29th, we'll be in San Francisco. March 12th, Orlando, Florida. March 14th, Miami. March 13th, we're working on Tampa or somewhere similar, but we'll have another date in Florida on March 13th. April 24th, Seattle, Washington. April 25th, Portland, Oregon. I'll be in Pittsburgh April 10th. That's just me, though. May 15th, we just confirmed Detroit, Michigan. Oh. Yeah, Detroit, Michigan. Tickets are available now. We're so excited to see you. June 19th, Louisville, Kentucky. July 11th, Chicago. July 12th, Milwaukee. Those are all the tickets that are available now. And there's some shows that are confirmed. We just don't have the tickets quite yet. June 20th, we're going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. September 10th, New York City, baby. So some of the tickets aren't quite available yet because a lot of venues got to get through this year first.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of dates confirmed, a lot of dates that are in the works. Boston, we're coming back. Portland, Maine, we're trying to come at you. Burlington, Vermont, we're trying to come at you. Minneapolis, we're coming back. Madison, we're coming back.
DC,
we're coming back. Philly, we're coming back.
Maybe Richmond.
Maybe Chapel Hill. If you're in that area, let us know where you might want to see us. We're still working on
I want to
some
say,
things
too,
there.
the July 12th show, that's the Sunday before the Democratic convention in Milwaukee.
Right
so we're doing a
before.
show the Sunday night before.
In a Union Hall.
In a Union Hall, which is cool. I'm doing the Minds event in Milwaukee on the 11th during the day, and then we have a show in Milwaukee that night. Chicago that night. I'm sorry.
July 11th, Chicago.
July 11th, Chicago. So go to grahamelwood.com or ronplacone.com for all those tour dates. Join us on the road. It's fantastic.
It's been so much fun.
So let's read a couple more. Krillin' it. What is this? Whoops. Krillin' it. Okay, this jumped. It jumped on me. It jumped. Wow, it jumped a lot. Oh, we got a lot of these. All right, let me hold.
Dude.
Krillin' it. 876. Thank you, Krillin. Missed most of the debate. Did they do foreign policy? They talked a little bit about foreign policy.
Well, I know they talked about Israel-Palestine for a hot minute, and I think I think it was Buttigieg. They asked him about Israel-Palestine, and he just went on a rant about how the president's racist.
Yeah.
Because he had no answer.
Well, Bernie's the only one that has like an answer.
Bernie's the only one who had an answer. The rest of them had no answer whatsoever. And I think Buttigieg just went on a rant about how that was like the deflect for everyone. Like, well, Trump's bad.
Well, they brought up the Afghanistan papers.
Yes,
which was,
they did.
That was big because they called out Biden for the Afghanistan papers. They're like, it said you this. And he goes, look at my record. I was the only, he always says, look at my record and I was the only one. He says it to anything. I was the only one. And you know, Secretary of Defense Gates fought me on, the Pentagon fought me on it. No, Biden, the Afghan papers show that you and Obama, that White House that you were working in, we're deliberately telling people to mislead statistics to keep us in Afghanistan.
No, I was the only one. I stood up. I was the lone one. It was just me. I was the guy. I was alone, like a lifeguard in a chair. I was all alone.
Why do you always bring up pools?
And there was sunscreen on my legs, and it made the hair stand up.
What does that have to do with foreign policy?
My time's up.
Text Corn Pop 330.
Support the campaign 303330 Corn Pop.
Joe, sit down, please. No, that was great. And you know the other thing that I like too is Biden goes, and you voted yes on the war in Iraq. And then I'll give the PBS panel credit for this. They said, Bernie, you voted yes for the Afghanistan war, which he did. Mm-hmm. And Bernie said, Barbara Lee was the only person who voted no. A bunch of us voted yes, and I was wrong.
Yeah.
He just said I was wrong.
It was like, I was wrong there, and I want to shout out the person who was right.
And that was like, when does a politician say that? And I'm not excusing or letting Bernie off the hook for that. I'll just say my own personal thing at the time after 9/11. You got to like, I thought going to Afghanistan made sense. The argument that they said at that time, 9/11 was committed by Al-Qaeda. They were given safe haven in Afghanistan because of Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, and they said they were going to specifically target the people responsible.
Yes.
That's what they told us.
Yeah. They didn't say we're going to be
a lie.
Yeah, it was all a lie. They didn't say we're going to drag this out for 18 years.
Right.
And, so that was in October of 2001. When I was there for the first time in August of 2004, they're like, we're making headway. Girls' schools are opened up. Like, I saw this progress there in 2004. Mm-hmm. And even when I was again in 2006. And then, well, in 2004, I saw this progress. In 2006, they started to say, a colonel told me, we've diverted a lot of, we were making headway, and then we diverted all these resources to Iraq.
Yeah, see, as soon as, I was... Admittedly, when all of it was going on, I was in high school, so I wasn't paying that much attention politically. I just knew 9/11 happened. I knew these people were responsible for it. I was like, well, we should probably find these people who were responsible for it. Then when we didn't do that and kept not doing it and went to Iraq, I was like, what? Iraq? What? Why? What's going on in Iraq? What does this have to do with anything? And then that was my awakening, dude, because that was around, the same time I discovered who Noam Chomsky was. And I was like, why are we in this war? And, kind of the floodgates open. And I was like, oh, snap.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I mean, when we started ramping into Iraq, I was like, wait a minute. That's when I was like, this ain't right. I go, Afghanistan made sense to me because the argument that we know now is all nonsense. But at the time, and I get that, and Bernie Sanders just said I was wrong. It was just like, he didn't even, it caught me off guard because you're so used to everybody hemming and hawing and making excuses and diverting. He goes, yeah, I was wrong. And Barbara Lee was right, and she deserves credit for that. It was like...
Yeah, and that was, dude, because there were kind of more deflective approaches he could have taken. He could have taken an approach like, my foreign policy record's not perfect, nobody's is, but I have a much cleaner record than anyone else on this stage, or, whatever.
At the time, I thought we should, he could have made excuses.
But instead he just said, yeah, I got that one wrong. I was wrong there, which, that's pretty... They'll find a way to use that against him. But
Bernie says wrong, Afghanistan wrong.
Bernie's wrong on foreign policy.
Bernie spits in Afghanistan veterans' faces. Like that's what they're going to say,
Bernie said I was wrong, but then he threw a chair.
Austin Voigt. Thank you, Austin, for supporting the show. Anyone else throw up in their mouths anytime Platitude Pete speaks? I was just him and Klobuchar just bore, and Tom Steyer just bore me to tears.
Tom Steyer is so, with how much money that guy has, he should be paying a living wage to anyone who hangs out with him. Anyone who spends like, hey man, you want to go golfing or something? They should be paid $20 an hour, no matter how rich they are. That's how boring of a person he is. Anyone should be getting compensated if they spend time with that gentleman.
I don't want to hear a goddamn word from another billionaire unless it's, I'm giving up all of my money. I'm going to move into a 2-bedroom condo and pay myself, $200-300 grand a year. And the rest of my money, I'm building a homeless shelter or a something. I'm going to build it, not fund a campaign for a blah, blah. No. The Tom Steyer homeless, I'm going to build, 10,000 studio and 1-bedroom apartments that are all affordable in San Francisco and the Bay Area. And it only goes for the homeless get in first, and I'm going to pay for them to have medical, clothing, job training, mental health, drug treatment. I'm going to do that.
He could have done that tonight.
He could have done that
he is
tonight.
Such a piece of garbage.
And I would have voted for him. If he said shit like
that far, but
I mean,
I don't think I'd vote for him.
But if he said I'm going to do that, I would give Tom Steyer maybe voting is extreme, but you're right. I would at least go, wait a minute now, that's a bold plan, and good for him. He's leading by example.
Yeah.
And these billionaire assholes, he's not going to give up his cushy way of life. None of them are. And in fact, so if you're not willing to do that, then I, as president, will put you in jail. That's what my campaign would be. Graham Elwood 2020, billionaires are going to jail. I'll arrest a bunch of them. All the pedophiles, they get locked up. The sex traffickers, they get the fuck locked up. And then everybody else, I'll give you one shot to give up your money and make the world a better place. Otherwise, orange jumpsuit, I'm going to perp walk you against the front lawn of the fucking White House, and I'm seizing your assets. And you know why I can do this? Because I have Constitution. I have the American War Powers Act. I'm just going to declare war on assholes.
Now, here's the big question in this hypothetical. What if Tom Steyer gave you a counteroffer of teamwork?
The same teamwork he used in those coal mines that he made money from. Yeah, I just like what a mope waste of space.
He had a perfect opportunity. It was like, oh, it's the holiday season. Do you want to give it? Well, he could have been like, you know what? I'm glad you brought this up because I'm gonna give blah blah whatever. Does he live in New York? Like, where does he live? I don't. He's got to
be he's a California guy.
All right, so he's a California. Yeah, I'm gonna do this for homeless in San Francisco or Los Angeles or wherever. I'm gonna do this thing.
Look, one of his
it would be the equivalent of one of us loaning somebody $50.
I know. The other thing he could do, he's a big solar energy guy and he's made some money off solar. Okay, great. He could do this. He could just say, I'm putting solar panels on everybody's house. Anybody who makes in a home that's under this value. So I'm not giving it to rich people because they can buy their own solar panels, but all the working class people in California,
all the renters,
you get free electricity. Tom Steyer paid for it.
Yeah.
And you could say, wow, he's just trying to buy people's votes. Fine.
Yeah, right.
He's making the air quality better.
He's doing something positive.
I'm all for it. He doesn't have any bold anything. These mopes, like, run as a fucking Republican or get out of the way. Give your money up.
Don't run. If you really want to do something about climate change, why would run for president? The first thing you think to do when you have $1 billion. So many things. He could just fund his own Green New Deal. He could be like, be like, whoever wins this Green New Deal, let me know what you're going to raise. Let me know how we're going to allocate the resources, and whatever, I'll pick up the rest of the tab.
I'm opening up a solar, factory or whatever, a wind turbine. I just created a 2 million green new jobs in the state of California. Anyone you can't move to California and get one of these jobs. If you're a current resident in California, you're having a hard time, you're unemployed, I'm just giving you a job. Any of these things we're talking about, he could do tonight. Mm-hmm. He could wake up tomorrow morning and have a goddamn original thought other than, hey, I'm a rich asshole who thinks he knows better than everybody else, and fucking do it.
Yeah, instead he's boring everyone to tears at a debate.
God, with that stupid Scotch plaid tie. Take that goddamn thing off.
You're going to afford a better tie.
Oh, what do you have, a fucking kilt around your neck? Get that thing out of there. Jesus. Caves of Chaos.
I actually don't remember what his tie looked like.
No, he wears this stupid Scotch plaid tie every time, and it's so dumb. Caves of Chaos 123. I like Biden promoted 1900 gunboat policy for China. Oh, God. Well, let's talk about the China thing. So here's what was not brought up. by our good people at PBS that are funded by the Koch brothers who make a lot of money from fossil fuels. China and Russia just approved a Siberian pipeline for Russian oil to go to China.
Uh-oh.
Weird. China, the biggest consumer of oil on the planet now. And they're also, China has said, we're not using the petrodollar anymore. We're going to use the whatever their currency is called, the yuan or whatever.
Right. Okay.
So isn't that weird? Anytime somebody says we're not using the petrodollar, they become an enemy.
Right.
Remember when Iran did that? And then all of a sudden Netanyahu's just on stage going, I saw that on RT last week because I don't know that the corporate media in the States is reporting it. So RT reports it and I'm like, oh, wow. All of a sudden China's military this and they're attacking us here. And I'm not excusing any of the totalitarian stuff China does. But we like to back countries into a corner to force them to fight us so that we can say, oh, we have to defend the world.
Right.
And the real reason, as is the case with Syria, as is the case with Iran, as is the case with Venezuela, it's goddamn oil or some stupid pipeline. So they are saying Russia and China, and I can't blame them for this, are going, fuck the United States. They think they can control everything. And so we're getting our own. Russia has its own oil. I don't want to see this pipeline as an environmentalist that's afraid of the human race getting wiped out from climate collapse.
Purist.
I know. I'm a wacky purist. I should just be a little more pragmatic and just know that we'll probably lose most of the population, but we'll do it.
Andrew Yang's going to put them on higher ground, and then we'll reduce our oil dependency by like 2050 or so. And there will be gas emission standards that Amy Klobuchar is
They're talking about carbon offsets and raising gas mileage standards. Fantastic plans if it's 1982, Ron.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Like, I'm watching a Republican debate.
Listen, Amy Klobuchar's grandfather had a fuel-efficient car, and he would drive that fuel-efficient car.
Oh, God. You know what? My dad was an immigrant. We all had parents and grandparents, and they all had jobs. Okay? Most of them were immigrants, unless you're Native American. So, enough with that folksy, pre-planned focus group bullshit. So anyway, that's what the China thing is all about. That's why China is now to the top of the enemy list. Because Russia's main export is oil. And they're selling it to China, the number one consumer in the world. And because Saudi Arabia does whatever we tell them to do, because we let them, treat women like, dogs and chop up journalists. And they can bomb countries like Yemen as long as we get their oil and they buy our weapons.
Right.
So Saudi Arabia is not going to sell. They're not going to sell oil to China, so they have to get it somewhere. What we could do if we had a leader like with a real serious Green New Deal is go to these countries and say, guess what? We're going green. We're getting off of oil. You do too. Let's work together. I don't want to see this pipeline happen because it's bad. China, 1.5 billion people burning oil is not good for the planet.
Oh, yeah.
They have a serious smog problem.
No, they have a serious smog problem. We're starting to get it here. I mean, here in California, it's like our oceans are like 30% more acidic than like all the other oceans right now. And it's,
Fukushima and Japan just released all that radioactive water.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need more pipelines. We don't need... Oh, they were talking about nuclear power on the goddamn stage? Oh.
Yeah, we needed a Green New Deal last week.
Yeah.
And, we don't have a choice. I mean, that's why... That was another good moment Bernie had when he was just like, yeah, we're looking at the fate of the planet for our children and our grandchildren. We want to have a planet. He was the only one that actually said that. The rest of them were like, well, fuel standards and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, we'll be pragmatic. And he was just like, no, it's the planet. It's the fate of us on this planet.
It's unreal. It's just literally they're the opioid epidemic. They want to, give everybody an aspirin.
We'll have a bake sale.
Yeah, we'll have a bake sale and everybody gets an aspirin and a Band-Aid. And we'll move you to higher ground. Fuck. Bold leadership, assholes. If you don't have a bold plan, I'm serious. Get the fuck out of the race. I'm talking to every single one on that stage. If you don't have a bold plan and you're not willing... You know how they put a man on the moon? They said Scientists said, I don't know, it looks hard. And they said, figure it out.
Yeah.
The leaders went, figure it out. But it's going to be hard. I don't know. And they had a team of mathematicians and scientists working on this.
Well, so this one's even easier because a bunch of scientists are like, here's what we can do. Here's what we can do. The good news is we can do something. We're just behind schedule. Here's a bunch of stuff we can do. Let's get to work. And government's just like, meh.
Well,
meh.
It's like, here's stuff that is already in place and working. It just needs funding on a mass scale.
Right.
I just did a story. They found a way, these scientists in Sweden, of thermal. I'm not a scientist, so I'm going to screw this up. CNN reported this, of solar panels, because battery storage is the big issue with renewables, right? Mm-hmm. Where do we store it? When it's a sunny day, it's when we're generating all this sun and we don't need as much electricity. Where does it go? How do we store it? Well, we need to update our grid is 70 years old, and we need more battery storage. Well, battery, we know this from these and computers. This is just research and money. We put all this billions of dollars into making these because it's a competitive market. That's why this is more powerful than the computer that sent a man to the moon. Right. So they found this water that can store thermal energy for up to 18 years. A liquid battery, basically.
But how are we going to pay for it?
I don't know how we're going to pay for it.
How are we going to pay for that?
I don't know. Should we just have 188 Democrats vote to give money for it? Or did they already give the money for war and so we don't have any money left?
They gave them like $12 or something like that. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't like billions or anything like that, I don't think.
Wow.
Couldn't be.
All right. Big baby Zubas. Boom. JD, I see you. Bernie calling out Biden's donors. Nice. Tisha Taylor, thank you for supporting the show. Shave your knuckles for justice. Do you think if Bernie called out the DNC that it would be beneficial, shave your knuckles? I ask you that question. What do you think? If Bernie just went, you guys cheated me and now you're trying to cheat me again, or would it backfire? Would they go, would people on the, I don't know. Would he get more independence? All the 100 million people that didn't vote, would they then show up?
I think if he makes it about him, it would backfire. I think if he makes it about the establishment working against the people, it would catapult him. Mm-hmm. So I think it's about approach. If he makes it about him, if he's like, you cheated me and this and that, if he makes it all about him,
then he sounds like
which
Trump.
Isn't his style anyway.
Right.
But if he did that, I think that would backfire because there's still a lot of people like people that are more casual voters or what have you that would just be like, well, this is sour grapes. But if he makes it about his movement or the movement that he ignited, the fact that, like, this isn't about me. This is about all of us. This is about plans that we've all wanted. A ton of people, there's a lot of people, myself being one of them. It's like, this is the first time there's ever been a viable candidate that actually talks about the stuff that we've wanted as long as we knew what they were. Like I've wanted single-payer health care for this country since I knew what it was when I learned about it in college. And so if he makes it about that and he makes it about how the Democratic establishment actually isn't for those ideas and needs to be completely gutted, I think that'll really move people. And I think that'll move people on the left. I think that'll move people in the center. I think that'll move people on the right to try to jump on board. And I think it'll certainly help them in a general.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes sense that it's just not his style. He never brings up that he marched. When they brought up the race issue, he didn't go, hey, I was arrested in the 70s, which he could.
Yeah,
he does
doesn't
not
do that.
He refuses to do it, and I kind of see why, because he doesn't want to say, "Oh, look at me, white savior," or whatever.
Right.
Whatever his thinking is. So he just leaves that alone. And I don't know. I go back and forth on this. Part of me goes like, "Oh man, Bernie," like we said at the top of this, fight hard, come up swinging, And then there's a part of me that goes, especially tonight when he was really like pushing the unity message because the country's so divided. I think especially these impeachment hearings are just right down partisan lines. And a lot of Americans on either side are like, oh, this is a waste of time. It's like the Russia thing. Most Americans are like, I can't pay my bills. And he's just trying to come with his message. He's hoping that his message of unity and helping the masses and helping the working class and fixing the system supersedes him going, yeah, you cheated me.
Well, you can have a message of unity when it comes to the people and take your gloves off when it comes to the establishment. That's the line you got to toe.
Yeah. So I'm curious when when he's going to start doing this. Is he going to play nice in the Democratic primary and then, obviously, if he gets the nomination, he's going to come up swinging against Trump. Like, I don't see him back down against that guy at all.
Right. And I think that's his overall strategy. Like try to be the unifier to get to the general, and then you can really take the gloves off because you got to get some of these undecided voters. But to get out of the primary, you got to throw everything in the kitchen sink at this thing. So he's got to take his gloves off more now too. I mean, he has to an extent, and it's been good, but I think he's got to turn it up a little bit more.
All right. Jimmy Dore Show. What's up, Jimmy? Shave your knuckles for justice, Jimmy. I didn't watch. I hear Bernie called out Biden for donors.
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Yeah, so
and he called out Buttigieg. It was actually a good line.
It was great. So Jimmy, what he did was they were all going after Pete Buttigieg, which was funny. And then Bernie goes, "My good friend Joe has 44 billionaires donated to his campaign, and Pete, competitive young man, only got 39.
You only got 39. You need to step up.
Step it up.
You gotta get a little more. Gotta get a little more of those billionaire donors there.
Which is so great because
you're a competitive guy. I think
they
you can do it.
They can't argue with him. Bernie got one billionaire to donate, and it was the wife of a billionaire donated $400 and some, and he returned it. That's what Bernie did. So that was
$18. That's my average $18. Most small donors.
Oh, that was great. Layla Dawn, what's up, Layla Dawn? You sound... But Graham, what if I don't have hairy knuckles? Thanks for the laughs. Thanks for the truth. Layla, you just still got to shave them for justice. Do you know what I mean? Or get some of Joe Biden's leg hair.
Yeah.
And then glue it on and then shave that off.
And that leg hair sticks straight up.
Yeah.
So it'll be an easy shave job.
And it does weird stuff in the water, apparently.
Weird stuff. Don't let it stick around too long. Dispose of it immediately after you shave it.
Go to the Joe Biden leg hair tier of my Patreon, folks, and really enjoy that.
That's the 30330330330
leg hair
corn pop
through corn
tier.
pops.
President Winston Churchill
was our best president.
He was great.
Right. He was between Dukakis and Adlai Stevenson.
He was the guy, period. That's what he was.
705 people watching. Come on now, let's get up to 800. And then kids jump on your lap. Action for Saj said that. Thank you. Yeah, that's the action. That's part of the Patreon tier. You get the corn pop leg hair, and then kids jump on your lap. I'll send you a kid to jump. This is getting weird. He was the only one. Bernie has to play nice for the Democratic Party because they will always complain that he is not a real Democrat. Yeah. And
that's true.
And fuck them.
That is true.
Pragmatic cynicism, right on. Shave my knuckles for justice, right on. I'm seeking Joe Biden leg. Fuck off my autocorrect, Google. All right, I get why you're mad at that. Share the stream. Shave Biden's legs for justice. All right, let's get back to Brent McKinney. Shave your knuckles for justice, Brent. New cave VTG platitude Pignot with poop emoji label. Haha, nice.
That wine cave was creepy looking, by the way.
Ugh.
It was really yeah.
That was some
that's where you launch a scheme to drain people's bank accounts.
Yeah, that was
or something that was like a villain lair.
The Bland Bilderberg group or whatever. It felt like really creepy. That weird maze in Epstein's Island.
There's just some about that guy that is so off-putting.
It's off.
I mean, beyond. I mean, obviously his policies are terrible and stuff like that. But there's something about him that just
he's
seems...
a Navy intelligence officer, so there's just something programmed and weird about the cat, like Manchurian Candidate-y. Rennie, what's up, Rennie? Thank you so much for supporting the show and sending me a little animated thing. Big Baby Subas, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Thoughts on PBS? At least there was no commercials. Yeah, I mean, that's the one upside is they would just take a break and then they would go to their panel of neoliberal centrists who think they're woke or whatever. But
I thought it was, it picked up a little bit. At first, it was like, this is so painfully boring. It makes sense this took place in Los Angeles, a city notorious for having paid audiences because they needed one tonight. It
was all a bunch of Warren laughers. You know, they paid a big Warren team to laugh in there. I mean, I'm glad they brought up the wine cave. I'm glad they brought up the Afghan papers. But there wasn't a lot of like questions where I went, oh, I mean, those are the two where I go, wow, holy shit, they're really bringing.
I like the only time where Biden really jumped in and got aggressive when it was his opportunity to lie about Medicare for all.
Oh God,
that's the only, and he just repeats the same lie.
Yes,
like he just repeats it totally uncritically, just the same straight up lie about Medicare. That's like all he has.
He has that lie, and then as Cory Booker pointed out a couple of debates ago. Whenever there's a criticism of the Obama presidency, Biden distanced himself. When there's a good thing, he takes credit for it. Mm-hmm. That's my favorite thing that Joe Biden does. In addition to, the corn pop hair leg thing. A Mares, what's up, A Mares? We might be in Iowa. That debate gave me narcolepsy. Neolibs against post-workouts. Possibly as bad as McDonald's supported by Granny Petrol and Granny Stonewall.
There wasn't enough climate change talk. There really wasn't.
I thought it was just like,
you see, Greta, they didn't even talk about climate change much, Greta, because you hurt everybody's feelings. Everybody's too sad to talk about it, Greta.
Greta's part of a cult, Greta. You're part of your own cult, Greta.
It's Los Angeles, Greta. They all got here on cars.
Greta, have a hot cup of oil, Greta. Drink my hot, delicious oil like my grandmother did.
It'll keep you awake through the snooze fest of a debate, Greta.
She was born in a coal mine, Greta. That's what made her strong. All right. The naughty vegan. Oh, snap. Shave your knuckles for justice. Why does Bernie not mention the $30 trillion is actually a savings? Didn't the same Koch brothers study show a savings of $1.8 trillion? Yeah, I mean, Bernie he didn't tonight, but Bernie usually says the current plan costs $50 trillion. So my plan actually, that's what Joe Biden always conveniently forgets to bring that up.
Yeah, he forgets conveniently every time.
What a weird that he forgets. Sam Dean, what's up, Sam? G'day, mate. I'm confused. You complain about how it's a circus. Now you complain that it's boring. Explain what it is you do want, just so I'm clear on it. It's a circus sometimes.
Sometimes circuses can be boring.
Sometimes circuses can be really boring. You ever just see like the same dog riding the same bike around in a corner?
And it wasn't boring because they're not talking. It was boring because they weren't bringing up ideas.
Yeah.
They were just talking about nothing.
Right.
And it was really boring stories.
That's what I want. I don't want some real...
I don't need pyrotechnics here.
No, and I don't need a Real Housewives reality TV dumb argument, but bring up real issues and real stuff. Like when Tulsi called out Kamala's imprisonment record. You know what I mean? Like when they were arguing, when Liz Warren brought up the wine cave thing, and then with Pete, and then Pete that was valid. And
I'll give you the best example as far as tonight went. When they asked, I think it was related to DACA, and Bernie Sanders was like, okay, this is what I would do. Day one, this is the executive order I would do. Day one, this is the other thing I would do. Day one, and he was just naming all these things. And then Pete Buttigieg told a story about a guy driving in a car with his kid.
Sick of
That's what I'm saying. More of what Bernie did in that, for instance, less of what everyone else does in that, for instance, where they have when they asked Amy Klobuchar about climate change, she just told a story because she had no answer. She has no plan.
That's all they have.
That's what's boring. That's why it's boring.
That's what drives me nuts. All the Democrats have are these dumb stories. I met someone during my 100,000 selfie tour. Bernie said, I'm going to do this policy. I want to hear your policy and your plan. Tell me, explain it to me. If you can't explain it to me, then it must not be very good.
Or you might have taken it from somebody else.
Oh, right.
If
or
you
stole
can't explain it, maybe you took it. That's
all they have is, and I was listening to some of the impeachment, and the final speeches, and they would go, a Republican would talk, and then the Democrat, and the Republican, and the Democrat. And I hate to say this, but the Democrats did the same damn thing. They just talked about, they had all had some story about my grandparent taught me the difference between right and wrong, and this president's wrong. The Republicans would map out why there wasn't enough evidence for an impeachment. How the goddamn Democrats are making me agree with the Republican Party. That's how awful they are. Bernie is giving me an actual plan. He's telling me how he's going to pay for Medicare for all. He's telling me who he's going to tax and how he's going to do it. He's got a plan for DACA. He's got a Green New Deal. He's got all of these tell me what your plan is. Tell me what you're going to do.
And if they dove into more issues, they would find he's the only one that has a plan for almost everything. And they have a plan for nothing. He has a plan for a high-speed internet for all. He's the only one talking about universal broadband. He's the only one. I mean, isn't it amazing that when it comes to digital rights and big tech issues, the person who is the most on top of it is a 78-year-old guy? I
mean, Andrew Yang, like you say, he's a tech libertarian, and his solution is, I'm going to give everyone $1,000 a month for any problem.
Well, and then his solution is just free market.
It's just free market, which is, the free market will fix it. No, the free market is what caused this apocalypse. Late stage capitalism is a direct result of the free market. But at least tell me what, at least he said, I'm going to move people to higher ground. It's an awful solution.
I will take the free market argument seriously once the invisible hand gives somebody a hand job. Until that happens,
My point is, that's the closest we can get out of anybody else on the stage for an actual solution, a policy platform. That's what this debate should be. That's why we get so mad. They ask these bullshit softball questions, and most people don't even answer them directly. They either ask ridiculous questions about identity politics or nonsense.
Oh, yeah. Well, I totally blanked on the question itself, but I tweeted this when it happened in real time tonight, and I'm forgetting the question. If anybody in the chat has a better, this is going to be vague, but, you can see the timestamp when I tweeted it. Joe Biden got the most softball question ever in the history of the debate so far. I forget what it was about, but it was just such an insane softball question where they just lobbed it up to him, and all he had to do was say yes.
I know, that's all they just, what is your plan? Tell the American, explain your plan for this, explain your plan for that. Tell us how that's going to, give us the policy, tell us how you're going to pay for it. And I want to hear Liz Warren, I grew up in Oklahoma. I mean, she says she wants to tax billionaires, and she's got 3 different brothers, all different walks of life. And the one thing they agree on is that it's wrong that Amazon made $8 billion or $11.2 billion and paid $0 in taxes, and that makes them mad. Okay, so you're going to tax billionaires, and you're going to pay for things. But that's
even Pete Buttigieg brought that up.
Yeah,
he found out about it at one of the dinners he was having.
Yeah,
they told him, they were like, "Hey, we don't pay any taxes.
Yeah, we don't. Are
you going to keep it that way?" And he's like, "My private position will keep it that way, but I got to use this in the next debate."
Yeah, I'll bring this up in the debate, but pass the Chianti.
I gotcha.
George Allen, shave your knuckles for justice, George. Any more debates left? God help us. Yeah.
Oh, no, there's still more next year.
At least next year, it'll be like Bernie just won the Iowa caucus. We'll have that.
Some states will start coming in.
And that'll mean funding will drastically shift.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who is kind of getting some funding, if they're 9th or whatever, their funding's over. And people are going to start switching their funding from their dream candidate or whatever to now we're on the short list. And that's what's going to happen. Kilkenny B, shave your knuckles for justice. Did I just see Putin pour some $900 Cabernet Sauvignon in your cups? Yes. We are actually, the ATC Studios is in the Kremlin. It's really fantastic.
Moved there recently.
I could never live in Russia because they don't have surfing. A country that doesn't have surfing, I don't get it. A. Gray, Tulsi voted not present. Let's talk about this. What are your thoughts on that with regard to the impeachment? Do you think it was a bold move? Do you think it was a weak move? What do you think it was?
I don't think I would call it weak. I mean, I think like in that situation, my whole thing was I was more interested in seeing the person's work than I was in like, okay, well, what did they do? Because, you know, the fact that we're in that situation in the first place, it's not because of AOC. It's not because of Tulsi Gabbard. But, you know, they're faced with a decision, and they don't just report for themselves. They also kind of have to reflect what they think their district would want. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I think it's one of those things. I respect when people were like, this process was totally mishandled. We didn't even look at a lot of the financial... Well, they didn't look at any of the financial stuff. All the financial stuff, they didn't even touch. Why? Because Democrats and Republicans are complicit with all that stuff, too.
How did AOC vote on the impeachment?
I think she was yes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure she was yes.
Hey, Aaron, do you mind looking that up? How AOC
check on that.
voted yesterday on the impeachment?
I'm pretty sure she voted yes.
Yeah, I saw Tulsi's statement.
Mm-hmm.
And what her statement made, that actually made sense to me. She goes, I wasn't backing out, or she goes, I don't agree with this process. And I think this whole process is just partisan, and it's keeping the country divided. She's trying to take more of in certain areas, let's unify the country stance. So she's like, I don't agree with this process. There's a lot of, I think Trump.
But I can't vote no because of how corrupt Trump is.
Right.
You know, and yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty principled way to go. Mm-hmm. And I think someone could also use that same, that same logic to justify a yes vote, where it's like, well, I'm going to vote yes because like this is where it's going. This is what my district wants. But I will say this process has been terrible. This is not, where I want us to be going. This is not the direction we should be going. But, I was kind of more, I was more all about like the explanations, because it's not, it's not their fault we're kind of in this, this situation, which, I'm curious to see what is going to happen next, because I mean, you and I were talking to, a club owner. I'm not going to say their name, but I think they're likely an undecided voter. And I think they kind of echoed what I think a lot of undecided voters are saying right now, where it's just like, why are we spending this political capital here when there's an election coming up, and just beat them at the ballot box?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, I've said this before. This impeachment is a waste of time. The Senate is never going to, so you just wasted everyone's time, which now you're giving Trump
well, look at all the stuff you did. I mean, look at what he's going to be able to say, where he's just like, oh, well, they were impeaching me. Look at all this stuff that happened. I got a new NAFTA through. I got my my Pentagon budget. I got that. I got a net neutrality vote got squashed. 750,000 people lost their food stamps. Oh, by the way, well, they were all telling you that I'm public enemy number one and I'm a traitor and I'm treasonous. They gave me the Patriot Act.
Yeah. I know, and it's just like, I've said this before, the way to defeat Trump once and for all, because even if you were to be successful with the impeachment, what was her vote?
Yes on both.
She voted yes.
Okay, so both articles,
and I heard
she voted yes.
Is it true that she chastised Tulsi for her present vote? Yeah. I actually, when Tulsi, the way he explained it, I agreed with her present vote. I really did. I was like, that's smart leadership. That wasn't like a cop out. I'm trying to work both sides. It didn't feel like in her explanation of it. And I think Tulsi's pretty principled. There's some things I disagree with on, but she supports pardoning Julian Assange, and I got a lot of credit for that. Mm-hmm. And the present vote, actually, I'm glad, because I do think this impeachment is nonsense. And that we've talked about this before. If you had a Bernie Tulsi ticket, you would crush Donald Trump.
Oh, absolutely.
And here's the thing. You beat him in the popular vote and a crushing electoral college vote. You shut him up for good, because you're like, you couldn't even win the popular vote the first time. You had to get the electoral vote.
Right.
So you're done. America doesn't want you anymore. You got in on a fluke. Hillary ran a bet. You're done. It's over. All these people that liked you the first time bailed on you because you weren't true.
A lot of them saw through you.
They saw through you. They believed you initially, and then you bailed out. You gave a $1.5 trillion tax break. You lay all the things, and then you go, you're done.
Well, and that's why we have to ask, will this kind of beltway stuff like convert people? And I don't think it will.
No, it won't. Everyone's sick of this because here's the thing, and we said this. We've talked about this on this show, your show, Jimmy's show. I talked about this on RT. So let's say whenever a Democrat gets back in the White House, the Republicans are going to pull this shit. So it's like it's a way, and the American people are nowhere anywhere in this process. It's just all this beltway insider crap. It makes everybody hate both parties, and rightfully so. Mm-hmm. And it's like it's such a fucking waste of time, man. So anyway. Let's go back to this. A mayor's shave your knuckles for justice. A demand a post-Wine Cave, Iowa poll. Real Iowan. We'll get on that. George Allen. Boom. They only gave him seconds to answer. Yep. Big Baby Zubas, 4 debates early next year, 1 for each state in February. Okay. Thanks, Big Baby Zubas, for that.
Yay!
We did it.
More.
Danny Vela Perez, shave your knuckles for justice, Danny. Bernie needs to sound fresh and less predictable. Yeah, I mean, he is a little he says the same things over and over.
Well, it's also good that he's consistent.
Right.
Like, he knows what he wants to do.
Yeah. And I sometimes I'm like, it's good that he should just keep saying the same thing because then it's like, I don't know. It's like he's going to keep winning. That's why.
Well, you have transformative ideas. You need to be repetitive to a degree because it's like, and to people that have their ear to the ground with this stuff, like, like a lot of people that watch the show and you and I, like, maybe it sounds a bit repetitive to us, but you got to realize there's some people that are just tuning into this election season because God knows it's long enough. So,
well, there's people they're treating it like sports. Like, I'll wait till the playoffs to start watching.
Exactly. And I can't blame those people.
No, I can't blame them at all. We're doing this because this is what we do.
Right.
But if I didn't have a political YouTube show, I wouldn't fucking watch this shit until next April. And also look at Trump. Make America great again. I'm going to bring jobs back. Make America great again. I'm going to bring jobs back. I'm going to get us out of these wars. I'm going to make America great again. He said the same 7 things for a year and a half.
Yeah.
So it's
and he pretty much blew up the GOP establishment.
He blew it up. He destroyed. He got the Republican. This is the thing. People say, "Oh, well, Hillary won the popular." Yeah. He got the Republican nomination. That's the huge accomplishment that he did.
Oh yeah.
He blew that party
going up against. Jeb Bush was there, a family dynasty.
Yes.
And he just humiliated that guy.
It was supposed to be Bush Clinton round 2. Mm-hmm. Artificial Morphosman. Shave your knuckles for justice. Obvious everyone except Warren and Biden were against Bernie tonight. Moderators were framing against Bernie. Yeah, of course. Like, we know this. Bernie's never going to get a fair shake at any one of these debates unless it's held by us.
Yeah. Well, and Liz Warren, and she's not my least favorite person on that stage at all, but they will not cut her off.
No.
She could talk. She could have talked all 3 hours if she wanted to. They would not stop her.
Never.
She would just keep going.
They said,
and
Senator
going.
Warren, she goes, no, I'm not done. And they just politely sat there and let her just keep talking.
Well, at one point they were going to end. Like, the guy was like, oh, we got to move on. And then the other moderator stopped him because Liz Warren had a dumb story to tell that was vaguely related.
Right.
And so they told the story.
When I lied about being Native American, I knew that working class people... John Chow, shave your knuckles for justice. Have Ron Paul on. 'Tis the season. All right. George Allen. Hello, George. There is no escape from climate change, no higher ground. Exactly, which is why Yang just sums up his whole I'm an entrepreneur, the free market.
For $1,000 a month, somebody will figure something out while they're on the higher ground.
Yeah, we'll put them on higher ground, give them $1,000, and they'll find a solution for climate change.
And don't forget, everybody will have Medicare for all, asterisk, asterisk, asterisk.
Yeah, and a bunch
It's Medicare for all.
You know what we're going to do? Don't worry. AIs are going to rescue us from climate change.
Yeah, a bunch of robots are going to fly us up into outer space.
Into Elon Musk's rocket ship.
We'll live at his place. Where you can smoke pot, but you can't inhale.
Balthazar 228. Peter Mames bourgeoisie is John Oliver if he ever had the NHS and a British education. If he never had the NHS and a British education. Oh, that's a good joke. Patrick Leslie, what's up, Patrick? I want to see candidates discuss how we are planning to repair the economy as the countries we viciously sanctioned unite to take down the petrodollar at this very moment. That is a great question, Patrick, because, or statement rather. What is happening, you're right. All these countries are bailing on the petrodollar. That's what Syria is about, right? It's the pipeline that Russia's like, all right, I got to double down. Russia's like, America keeps sanctioning and sanctioning and sanctioning us. So we've helped create the situation, which is by design. So Russia goes, well, we have to double down on oil. So we make a deal with Syria and Iran to get that pipeline through Syria. Syria says no to our pipeline, so we have to make them evil. And they do a deal with China that we just talked about. And then we sanction Venezuela because they won't give up their oil. We sanction Iran because they won't give up their oil. These countries have the audacity of putting their country above American oil. And we have to, so we just keep creating all these problems. And for me, Patrick, the how to repair this economy, the countries we sanction, for me, the solution is a real serious Green New Deal. That's what it is, because a Green New Deal tells everybody we're off oil.
Well, dude, let's use the free market language. It cuts off the demand.
Yes,
the demand goes bye-bye.
Yeah.
For how long? Ever.
And
it's gone.
You get rid of the sanctions to all these countries, and you like Russia and China, and you say, look, let's work together. China has built a lot of green energy. China they're a centralized government. Yes, they can be repressive, but they also just go, oh, we want this to happen, we're going to make this happen. And so can Russia. And we should be working with those countries and huge other, like the billion people in India. We could lift India out of poverty by helping them fight the green, because they have a terrible smog there. Right? Brazil, these bigger emerging economies, we should be leading the way with them instead of sanctioning everybody because they don't want to give us their goddamn oil. We got to be done with oil. We got to say all the oil now stays in the ground. We're done. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done. And we could transform this overnight. Overnight. The federal government could come in and just say solar panels on every federal building. Big rebates. We're going to subsidize all the solar. We'll take that money, those hundreds of billions of dollars we give in oil subsidies. Why don't we give that to solar? So now you have a 3-bedroom house, and a $30,000 solar system will now cost you $5,000. Mm-hmm. You can do that. You could come up with $5,000. You could coming up with 30 and having to get a loan, and all of a sudden you start subsidizing the cost of all this stuff. Anyway, fucking drives me nuts. Anthony Maldonado. Thank you, Anthony. Donated 20 to the OG Burn, Political Vigilante 7. I think these 1%ers are still running because it's got something to do with DNC screening burning. Yeah. Look, I appreciate the support, man. I really do. But they're I think, and Jill Stein brought this up when I interviewed her last week. She's like, the ruling elites, I think she calls them. She goes, they're running, they're being exposed, they're losing power and control, and so what they're doing is they're doubling down on, which is a little scary, but also is providing us an amazing opportunity here to maybe affect some real change globally.
Right.
And so we are in a scary spot because the ruling class is not going to suddenly wake up and have a soul, but we're seeing they're losing control. These 12 some countries that are all protesting, all this stuff, they're all getting exposed. I believe the Epstein stuff, all of this stuff, they're getting exposed, and there's an opportunity for us to really make effective change. She brought up the Corbyn thing, which was a little bit of a disappointment, obviously, but she said, because they don't have representational voting. So the Conservative Party in England only got 44% of the vote, but because of their system, because it's a winner-take-all system, they get 56% of Parliament. Where she goes, and people 35 and under voted overwhelmingly for Corbyn. People 62 and up voted overwhelmingly against him. She said, but it's showing you that we're on the precipice of just like a global like reclaiming of everything. So that's why I'm a little positive.
I hope so. And part of the thing too was like, I mean, Jeremy Corbyn, first of all, he faced a ton of smears from the media, but he also faced a lot of resistance within his own party.
Yeah.
And Labor kind of, like kind of stifled him a good bit. And he's the reason that they were so popular in the first place. I mean, it was a new, Labor had really gone downhill. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of revamped because of him. But then, they kind of brought him back down. They didn't have a comprehensive idea on Brexit. They didn't have, a lot of their losses were because of the more centrist elements of that organization. And also, he, to bring it back to America too, it's like he's not quite as popular of a figure as Bernie, for whatever reason. Right. I mean, I'm not over there. I don't know why exactly. Sure. Every time I've heard the guy speak, I liked what he had to say, but for whatever reason, he's not as popular of a figure as Bernie is here.
Yep. William McLeod. Boom. Thank you, William. Going to be tuning in more. Keep up the good work. When are you guys coming to Washington State? Well, that's a great question. We have
Seattle, Washington, April 24th.
April 24th. Yeah. So go to Graham Elwood.
Tickets available now.
Yep. GrahamElwood.com or RonPlacone.com for your tickets. Hey, Mares, who lives in caves? Bats and military operatives.
I love bats.
Really? They're creepy.
Oh, dude. Bats are so cool, man.
They're so creepy.
Oh, I love bats. Bats are so... Do you ever see like a fruit bat like eat?
No.
It is cool looking, dude. Like they're just interesting creatures, man. I like bats a lot. I can never like have one, but I don't think that's legal. But
yeah, I don't think that's a pet.
Yeah, I don't think it should be either. Yeah, that wouldn't be healthy. But they're cool. Like I love seeing bats and stuff.
All right, so we know Ron's not going to have a bat as a pet. I mean, this is important.
I'm not going to have a bat as a pet. I don't think my cat would like it. I don't think they'd get along.
Oh, shave your knuckles for justice. Brent McKinney, clowns in caves drinking platitude. Pinot. That's my favorite. The platitude Pinot is my favorite one. Balthazar 228. Graham is funded by Big Kale. Ron is funded by the Lucy Pack.
True.
True
All the above is true. And Toastergate is real.
Toastergate is real. I can't go into it. There's an investigation happening within...
My attorneys told me not to say anything
Yeah, we
more.
can't talk about it. There's a whole toaster thing happening, and there's a lot of people. There's the big glutens involved. You know what I mean? The microwave lobby is trying to get a foot into this. I mean, it's a
sourdough pack.
Sourdough
has a say in this. The Vegemite lobby.
The sourdough pack.
The Australian government.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. So we can't. It's unfolding in real time, and we can't get into the specifics. M.A. Thank you, M.A. I'd say Buttigieg is Eddie Haskell, but Eddie Haskell didn't work for McKinsey Group, a corporation that went into countries after we bombed them to hell to build manufacturing plants for desperate slave labor profits. Yep, that's weird. All right, we got to wrap this up here. Wow, there's a lot more. Holy shit. All right. Just jumped on me. Wow, this really just jumped. Okay, here we go. Jackie Pago, going to try to catch you in Portland in April. Jackie, we hope to see you there. Mo Money, Pete in Wine Cave, still searching for Al Qaeda. Thank you.
That's
Jim
funny.
Garrison. What about Corn Pop coming back to New Orleans? Yeah, we will be back in New Orleans.
We'll definitely be back to New Orleans. It might not be in 2020, but we will be back to
We
New
will
Orleans.
be back in New Orleans. Maybe fall of 20 after the election. I don't know.
Yeah.
We had a great time in New Orleans, man. That was great. Balthazar 228, New York City and Denver. New York City
Yes.
for sure.
September 10th, New York City. Denver, the problem with Denver is it's there's nothing we can really tack it on with.
Yeah,
You
we've
know,
got to find
like we
yeah.
gotta find, because it's like all the Colorado cities are pretty close together. I mean, I love all those cities, but you know, as far as our routing goes, like there's not really any other places that are that drivable. So
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a tricky thing, but we're working on it. We want to go
we
there.
usually do about 3 nights in 3 different towns.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but we're working on it.
But
We-
like
we
Colorado
wanna-
Springs and Boulder, they're all so close. Like
Right.
it's a tough thing.
But New York City, definitely September 10th. Tickets will be available soon.
Yes. Balthazar 228. Boom. I glazed over it, but did anyone say Orange Man bad? Yeah.
Oh, jeez. No one mentioned it.
No one mentioned
No one
Trump.
even said his name.
No one said his name.
It's crazy.
I didn't get it.
No one mentioned Trump.
Melissa H. Friend tonight, a smart man said that Bernie and Warren are in lockstep. About to lose my mind. Help. Too many smart people not seeing the truth. Yeah, it's hard. Educate him, Melissa. That's all you can do. Balthazar 228. Just remember, 7-Eleven was an inside job. Chimichangas aren't hot enough to melt Slurpees.
That's funny.
Oh my God. Hashtag Robespierre didn't guillotine himself. Good stuff, Balthazar.
That's on Ropes PR.
Fucking funny. A Gray, shave your hairy legs for justice, just like Corn Pop, guys.
The
United.
leg hair would stick straight up.
Yeah. Put your Corn Pop in the pool. Brooks Rogers, poor, so this is a big donation. Thanks for the laughs, sons. Hey, Brooks, really appreciate it. Anyone out there that's, excuse me, that's tight on money, I appreciate anything you can give, and I get it if it's too tight. I totally understand. There's great free ways to support the show, which is liking and making you subscribed and hit the bell notification button. YouTube unsubscribes people. Watch the ads all the way through. Bring up a separate window. Don't click skip ad. When you click skip ad, I don't get paid. And share these on your social media. Thank you for doing that. Matt Clark, boom, shave your knuckles for justice. Trump voter, but love you guys. Can I get an angry gram on the Epstein BS? Yeah, I got another. There's more Epstein stuff coming down. And Matt, thank you for some Trump supporters come on this and they just, oh, you libtards. Thank you for being willing to listen to it, even if you don't agree with everything that we're saying, and getting another point of view. Like, we're pretty critical of the dumbass Democrats, so I'm sure that appeals to you.
Hey, man, I mean, I will occasionally get the email from, someone who's like, yeah, I voted for Trump before. I don't know if I'm going to again, but, even though I'm conservative, I like what you guys are saying. Hey, man, we can connect on the universal language of corruption and of laughter. So that's good.
And the Epstein thing, that's the ruling class.
Yeah.
That's everybody. Everyone's corrupt on that. So thanks, Matt. Tony DeMeo, boom. Shave your knuckles for justice. I had to fast forward to skip Steyer and Warren. Oh, boy. Man, the boring.
I thought Steyer and Klobuchar were the most boring.
It's a toss-up. Who was the
were
most
painful.
boring?
I mean, they're just painful to listen to.
I don't know. I go Mayor Pete's pretty boring.
Yeah, but when he's getting dunked on and he has to
That's kinda
handle
fun.
it, it's
That was
pretty fun
watching it.
And when his jokes bomb, that's also
that
it's
was
like
great.
it's like watching. Yeah, it's like watching a train wreck.
It is.
It's like it's
good. Hey, Mares, thank you.
Hey, Mares.
What's up, Ron? As a good cat dad, have you bought a cat wheel?
She prefers a cat tree, which she has, and she's very partial to that cat tree. It's a 3-layer one, and the holidays are coming up, so she's gonna get something else too. So,
all right, Brett McKinney for Lucy's cat wheel. Thanks, Brett. We appreciate you donating for Lucy's
Thank
cat
you, Brett.
wheel.
Is a cat wheel like that thing that Conan pushes at the beginning of the movie to get big and strong?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There's a film reference, so Ron's not going to get that.
Yeah,
He's going to
I'm
think
not
Lucy's
sure.
Cat Wheel is a band that was at Bonnaroo.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, I have Cat Will's second album. They're pretty good.
I don't know, the first album...
You could tell they were finding their footing with the first one.
Yeah.
It wasn't a very strong debut, but fortunately the label had faith in them. And the second one, killer sophomore effort, man.
You just fucking read that. That was just perfect. Like, you've heard that in interviews with bands 1,000 times. That's just like an athlete, like, well, you know, God willing, we'll be there come playoffs. You know, that's just like, it's just right in line with that. Rainbow wins. What's up, Rainbow? Happy solstice and Merry Yule. Absolutely. Layla Dawn. Reparation is an action, not a committee. Thank you, Layla. Only in a video game, when nationalists complained about their countries going extinct, progressives laughed. Now nationalists laugh when progressives complain about their planet going extinct. Good point. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Fan of fanfics. Boom. CNN saying Bernie lost because he trashed billionaires and talked about climate change. The article they just put out is a massive... Jesus.
Wow.
Just, they had it pre-written.
It's like up is down. Like, it's like, oh, he trashed billionaires and talked about climate change.
Klobuchar's moving up in the polls. Bernie's in first place in Iowa and New Hampshire and a bunch of other states that have primaries.
I think it was Nate Sliver that tweeted at one point, Bernie has plummeted down to first place.
I know. Bernie's free fall continues.
Bernie's free fall continues to first place. He
place.
really just needs to drop now.
He needs to drop out now. He's in first place. Tisha Taylor. Thank you, Tisha. If Bernie called out the Dems, Trump would ignore him because he would let... He's playing the outsider game. Yeah, it's an interesting... That's an interesting
you have
question.
to beat him at that game.
Yeah. It's really interesting if Bernie did that too much. Would that not work? I don't know. Would that backfire because it's already like Trump already did that? I don't know. I'm
I don't think so, because I think it's like people are tired of the status quo.
Yeah, they are.
They're tired of the beltway. And one of the biggest things that turns people off to the Democratic establishment is they feel like it's just a bunch of coastal elites that don't really plan on doing anything for them.
They call them dirty Walmart people and deplorables.
And
all this.
deplorables
Yeah.
and this and that. And then they, if there's a hearing going on and you say something they disagree with, they call you Russian propaganda. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
It is absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, and so, Bernie needs to transcend that and show people he is an alternative to that garbage.
That's interesting. Mayor's Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Everyone watch Graham's video with Mitchell about how real estate giants are buying every last piece of land in the Midwest. Inevitable migration. It's true. I'm here, and stratification in progress. Yeah. So there's a video I did earlier in the year, maybe, with Mitchell Helt, Snork Y2K, and he talks about, because they're aware. The ruling class is aware that the coastlines are going to be flooded. Mm-hmm. A third of America's population lives on the East Coast. So where are these tens of millions of people going to move to? They're buying land. He told me they're buying up land in Iowa because they know there's going to be this influx of people. It's like
crazy.
It's crazy. Like so Andrew Yang just build mountains and get to higher ground.
Yeah, you got to build mountains out there. For $1,000 a month, you can build a mountain, I think.
Yeah, there you go. $1,000 a month. You can have your own mountain.
I am at the point in my life where I'm kind of I'm like, yeah, private property, we shouldn't have it. Like, that's not like I've gotten to that, but I'm just like, yeah, we shouldn't. And when I say that, I mean houses and land. I'm like, yeah, we shouldn't have. I mean, that's not a change I'm going to see in my lifetime.
No.
But, like, if we were starting from scratch, I'd be like, yeah, no, we don't. Housing's a right. If one person doesn't have it, we all go outside and fix it.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We all get outside. Everyone in the community. Somebody doesn't have housing. We have to fix this now. Everyone's in. Okay, go back in now. Good night. Thanks for playing.
Thank you.
That's the end. Do I own this? No, you don't. We're all basically renters because we all die at the end of this. The state owns it because housing is a right, and we participate.
Yeah. Dan, love you, Graham and Ron. Saw you in Orlando. Oh, awesome. That was a fun show.
Well, we hope to see you again in Orlando,
We will
Dan.
be in Orlando. What
March
day do
12th.
Oh, where would we
12th.
get tickets, Ron?
RonPlacone.com or GrahamElwood.com.
Outstanding places to go get tickets. Keith M. Boom. I want Biden to tell me more about what he learned from roaches. After all, they might be all that's left after climate collapse. Good point.
What's the joke? Roaches and Keith Richards, right? Like that's the joke.
Yeah.
Everyone tells. Yeah.
Everyone will survive. Shave your knuckles for justice. Bella Blue. I find myself going to you guys as first choice for post debate. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
We love doing this. Then this
And live tweeting is fun.
live tweeting is fun.
I enjoy live tweeting the debates. It makes it way more enjoyable. It
Way
wouldn't
more
be enjoyable at all otherwise.
No, it'd be miserable if I was home alone watching this. And then
I would just put on hockey. Like if I didn't have any like other, I'd be like, all right, this sucks.
and the studio is we love doing the studio.
Yeah.
Like
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah. I choose not to watch the debates.
Smart choice. We always get good numbers. We always have like 700 people after the debate. So thank you all for sharing this stream out on your social media to get more people here, which is really cool. George Allen, do the candidates get paid for these debate gigs?
I don't think so.
I would say no,
Yeah,
but
I
you
don't-
never know
I can't. Yeah, I don't
in
think
this
so.
filthy, corrupt world we live in. That's a great question.
That'd be kind of hilarious. They get paid what like a Tonight Show set is.
They get $1,100 from the union.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
That would be
They
awesome.
treat it like a TV spot.
Yeah, they
Like,
get
oh man, I
residuals.
didn't get booked again this month. I didn't get. Oh, dude, Corey got bumped. Corey didn't get booked again.
Oh, he might not
They
make
didn't
his
book Corey
insurance.
back. Dude, Corey did the same set for like 3 gigs, man. And they're like, we just can't have you back.
Sorry, bro.
They're like, dude, there's just nothing. It's a little stale.
dude.
No one knows you, dude.
What a
Like, no one
bummer.
knows you. You can't sell tickets, man.
You're-
You can't. You can't even sell in Jersey.
No, it's
And like,
downloading
you
your.
want us to send you out, but no, dude, you can't. No, in California, no one cares, bro.
Nobody's downloading your album.
Kamala's not even selling tickets in California, dude. Kamala's
the
not selling
greatest.
tickets. You can't. I mean, yeah, Pete. Oh, he's selling tickets in South Bend. You want to sell tickets in South Bend? No, well then, you're not getting rebooked. Sorry.
Sorry, bro.
He's a big fish. What can we say? He's got it cornered.
Only in a video game. Shave your knuckles for justice. Rob Ager just did a video on Eyes Wide Shut about the pedophile cult. Yeah, I need to watch that movie again because it's really the thing that Stanley Kubrick, like that was his movie showing what the ruling elites are doing and their creepy ass shit. Hey Mares, what's up, hey Mares? You're being very sweet tonight. Idea breakout rooms for neoliberals, maybe by us? Breakout rooms for neoliberals. Yeah, that's a good point. Andrew Dwyer, boom. Was the wine cave attack on Pete effective? I think so.
Yeah, totally.
I think the people who are just kind of paying attention, like not like you're talking about why Bernie needs to say the same thing over and over. The people who are just tuning in for the first time, who's this Mayor Pete guy? I hear he's pretty good. And then wow, what's this wine
like,
cave
he
stuff?
sucks.
Wow, he's blows. It's like everybody's like Kamala's great, and then she got unveiled, by Tulsi. Boom, gone. Reeve Barker, hello, shave him. AOC not only voted yes, she threatened to find a primary opponent for any Dem who didn't. Oh, that's a bummer, man. AOC, that's a bummer. AOC's missing the boat on this completely. That's a complete...
Yeah, I hadn't heard that, but
If that's true, if that's actually true, and there's like, you can send me an article where she said this or a quote or a video clip, I want to see that first. And if that is true, that's a complete disappointment. Nazar G, boom, shave your knuckles for justice. I love you all. Come to Texas. Tell JD to upload the Tulsi interview tonight. It needs to be shared. Shave your knuckles for justice. You got it.
we were in Texas. We will be back.
We will be back. We had a great run in Texas.
We had a fun time in Texas.
We had good turnouts all
Yeah.
over the place. So we'll be back in Texas.
will be back.
It might not be 4 nights. It might be 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like it might be Dallas, Houston, Austin. San Antonio,
Yeah.
we had a great show there. The people who showed up were
They're
fantastic.
just really close to Austin.
It's just so close to-
We'll do a weekend night in Austin, so San Antonio, you can come out to Austin.
Yeah.
And we'll actually do Dallas. I thought Dallas and Fort Worth were right across the river from each other. I was wrong.
No, that's
They're not. I thought it was a Minneapolis, St. Paul sitch. It's not.
not at all.
I learned that.
Very far apart. 2 very different cities. George Allen. Just think if next year Trump took his overblown military budget and attacked the United States. Good point.
Sheesh.
Sparky, boom. Buttigieg exhibits a rage commonly seen in psychopaths, was Navy intelligence and corporate consultant, pizza total establishment stooge. Yep.
But don't you have high hopes for him?
I have such high hopes. I hope he's a strong fourth place, Ron.
Yeah. And when he loses, it'll be a strong loss.
Oh, that's me great. When I watch the Olympics, I always want to see who comes in fourth.
Yeah. I always thought, like, I wait.
Like, it's like, oh, the one person who's not going to get a medal.
Like it's boring when the first person comes across because it's like, oh, you broke the thing. Woo. Wait, where's the fourth person?
Yeah, the first three people get medals. I want the first person to not get a medal. That's what's
If you're
exciting.
watching a baseball game, who bats cleanup? The fourth batter.
Yes.
Obviously.
Well, remember that parade they just had for the baseball team that came in fourth place? I mean, I know the Nationals won the World Series, but it was the fourth place team.
No one cared about it.
Nobody
Yeah.
cared. Everyone cares about the fourth place team.
Fourth place person.
So great. Sparky, hello.
Hey, considering my team was kind of the fourth place team.
Yeah, that your Cardinals came in fourth, Aaron. That's why you're wearing a Cardinal shirt today. You're so proud about the fourth place.
Hey, better than the other 26. I'm just saying. That's including the Cubs.
Yeah, I know that was a slam at the Cubs. We don't have to get into this now. God damn it. Cubs haven't made any big offseason moves. We don't have to have this right now. Sparky, no way that Elizabeth Warren, who grew up in Oklahoma, didn't know that to legally claim to be Native American, she needed an Indian Affairs card. Yeah. She's, she just goes wherever. I'm going to give a speech at the Federalist Society. I'm going to do that. Like,
She just goes to wherever the next selfie's at, you know? She just goes the way of the photo op.
oh, I'm the first person to ever do that.
I do these now.
I just invented
If you want to give me $5,000 for it, that's your business. But if you don't,
I've done 100,000 of these, which is 1 million less than Bernie. And the wars waged for the cowardly elites. That is a great screen title.
that is quite.
You should listen to the citations needed number 58, the neoliberal optimism industry on the myth that capitalism has reduced poverty. Yeah, that sounds great. Brett McKinney, say yes to sticks and surfing. Carrot sticks and surfing. Absolutely. Thank you. Felix Marvin, boom. Shave your knuckles for justice. Graham, Dalai Lama on CIA payroll connected to human traffickers, child abusers, and fascists. Top assistant in USA suspended for corruption, bribery for DL appearances, and banging Sarah Baughman. All right. If you're going to make a claim that the Dalai Lama is on the CIA payroll, I'm going to have to see some real evidence.
Yeah,
That sounds a little...
You got to show some receipts there.
Yeah, sounds a little Alex Jonesy to me.
Yeah.
Brent McKinney, shave your knuckles for justice. Say no to corn pops and swimming.
All right, let's not bash a fine cereal. Let's keep this civil. Corn pops are fine.
No,
Corn Pop was a fine vice
he
president.
was.
He was a good American. He was a patriot.
You could disagree on his policy and what his leg hair did, but you don't have to go mean. Costello West, what's up? Good to see you on the show. The propaganda works. I can't convince any of my friends that Russia didn't do that. Oh, I know. It's I've argued in this room with people about it.
You know what? Whenever I complain about the two-party duopoly and the corporate capture of our politics and how our Overton window is so far to the right, it's ridiculous. If somebody tells me I'm being influenced by a foreign asset, I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'm being influenced by Sweden and Norway and Denmark and Ireland and Scotland and Canada and all these other countries that are doing it better than we do, and Finland and Iceland. They throw bankers in jail. I'm being influenced by all these foreign assets.
You Western European puppet. Sparky, thank you. Working class labor voters weren't anti-labor. They were anti-Corbyn because of his alliance with limo liberal Remainers and war criminal Tony Blair. All right, that's fair. Hey, mayors. 2 hoodies, 1 Tulsi, 1 Bernie for caucuses here in central Iowa, starting Tulsi because DNC hates her so much and they have to count me right on. MA, shave your knuckles for justice. Head of Genie Energy is, don't say it on your show out loud, is a Roth 5 child. So oil will be king till either the oil is gone or we're all dead. Yep. Sparky, Graham did a great job on Crosstalk the other day. Thanks, Sparky. You can watch the full interview on the RT's YouTube channel, and then I break it down on that neoliberal losing his shit. Wonka Shanga. LNG is going from Russia through Syria via pipeline, not oil. Dog, not seek, no. Okay. Yeah, that's right. It's liquid natural gas. That's
Okay.
all right. Fine.
That changes everything.
Oh yeah, and I feel better about it. Sparky, thank you. Honesty is Graham, Jimmy, Ron, et al.'s appeal. Thanks, man. Felix Marvin, who do you think Israel will bomb this Christmas? I don't know. It's an interesting. There's going to be some false flags through the Strait of Hormuz. False flag highway. Oh shit. Kelly M. Bernie, 2020, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Graham, are you a dog or cat person? I'm guessing not bats. I've never had pets personally because I've always just traveled and lived in apartments or whatever. I guess, my mom had this border collie when I was in college, which was an awesome dog. Border collies are awesome.
Dogs are cool, man.
They're really cool. I like cats too. I don't know. I guess I'm not that much of a pet guy. I don't know. I surf with dolphins.
You're a dolphin guy.
I'm a dolphin guy.
You're a dolphin dude.
I'm a dolphin.
Regular Dan Marino.
That's right.
Aaron just hanging back to weigh in on that one. Nice. Sparky, Ron's a show for the military-industrial complex. Of course he is.
Absolutely.
Election fraud could make all this not matter. Good point, Sparky.
That's true.
Sadly, that's a good point. Michael Golding, how about in the last debate we put everybody in an escape room? Tulsi says, hey, I found the key, Bernie. I'm with her. That's funny. A Gray, binders full of selfies, binders. Nice.
Nice. Well done.
George Allen, Pete was taking more without Tulsi there. Yeah. Reeve Barker, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Thank you. Felix Marvin, yes on CRA payroll for guerrilla war, 1959 to 73. Fact. Okay, you can't just say fact. We need to see receipts. You need to see proof of that. You can't just say fact and then I believe you.
Wait a second. Isn't it in all caps? All right.
Yeah, if it's in all caps. I'm open to it, but you got to show me receipts, man. Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Brent Taylor. I think that might be the last of them.
Cool.
Let me get, because we gotta break out of here. Brett Taylor.
Yeah, I got a show to go to.
Ron has to go do his comedy skits. And Sparky.
Do a comedy skit.
Just you yanking Ron's chain about being a shell. Yeah, we know you're joking.
I thought you were serious.
I believe Ron is a military industrial complex show.
I can't disprove it.
That I do believe. And Reeve Barker has one more. Reeve Barker, got the article on AOC, email, another way to send it. Either through social media or info@grahamelwood.com. Or if you're Patreon supporters, send me through that. Guys, that's our show. Thank you so much. Like I said, we will go live after every debate. I go live every Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific. I will be doing that while I'm in Hawaii for sure. And maybe earlier in the day this Sunday, I will go live at 3 p.m. Pacific, and then we're in Hawaii, so we'll figure that out. And over the holidays, we might not do an extra one of these, but we're trying to do a second live stream during the week here in the studio with Ron. But follow me on social media at Graham Elwood is the best way to do it because YouTube sometimes doesn't notify everybody. So go to ronplacone.com or grahamelwood.com for all our 2020 tour dates. Get your news on with Ron.
Yeah, youtube.com/Ron Placone for get your news on with Ron. And if you are so able, patreon.com/Ron Placone, trying to start producing some mini docs in the new year on municipal broadband. So that's what I'm focusing my show towards. Patreon.com/Ron Placone. And of course, 2020, we're coming to your town, so grab those tickets now.
Yeah. Did we miss one last one? Dolphin wheel for flipper, Brent McKinney. Right on. Boom. Aaron, thank you so much. And everybody
Thanks,
here at
Aaron.
All Things Comedy. Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate that. Remember now, you're all making Gotham great again. And shave your knuckles for justice.